Hi, I'm Darryl Chillin from Focus Property Inspections. Are you thinking about selling or listing your house? Let me take a few moments and explain the advantages of a pre-home inspection. At the beginning of the selling process, you're going to fill out a disclosure, and you're going to sit down with your realtor and fill that out according to your best knowledge. However, that may not be a true depiction of the physical condition of the property. So having a pre-list inspection will help you have a more accurate full disclosure. 2. Reduces liabilities for all parties. By having an accurately filled out full disclosure, you're actually reducing your exposure to liability, as well as the buyer's exposure to liability and the agent's exposure to liability. Later on down the road, you may have to defend that full disclosure. You're going to have an independent third-party report verifying and backing up the information that is in your disclosure. Number 3, receive top dollar for your home. Statistics show that you actually receive more money by doing a pre-inspection. The number one reason why people walk away from a transaction is usually due to buyer's remorse or second guessing or losing faith or trust in the transaction. There is a value in alleviating that stress, and that comes from building trust in the relationship and trust in the transaction, and by having a professional report done, you're putting a lot of suspected problems at ease before they become issues. 4, sell your home faster. Statistics shows that by building trust in the transaction, you're actually going to sell your home faster. And the first thing a buyer does once they get you under contract is have their own inspection. That inspection is going to come up with a list of things that are going to have further investigation by professionals in each area of concern. That is going to take time, delay closing, and potentially could cost you money. Number 5, reducing the chance of renegotiations. Once the buyer has had his or her inspection done, they're going to come back with a list of things from their deficiencies that they want corrected or money back from. By having a pre-list inspection, you're going to reduce those demands or list, allowing for less chance of renegotiation and potentially saving you money. Number 6, avoid closing delays. It's important to get to closing, usually as fast as you can, correct? By having all of the investigations done ahead of time, you've addressed all of the major concerns or had action plans or have discussed and negotiated those action plans out through the negotiating process and not waited until the buyer has their inspection. So you're going to reduce the chances of renegotiation, and you're going to shorten the period between the time you go under contract and the time you go to closing. Number 7, provide proof to the buyer of your home's condition. By hiring an independent third party to do the investigations ahead of time, you can show the buyer unbiasedly the condition of the property based on independent standards, building trust in the transaction and making the transaction go smoother. Number 8, you're going to reduce the chances of unpleasant surprises arising out of the buyer's inspection. We do strongly recommend that the buyer get their own independent investigation done on the property. However, if it's done according to national and local standards or by an independent third-party professional, the two reports should mimic themselves on the major concerns. Number 9, you'll be able to fix minor maintenance issues for better showing results. By having the pre-list inspection, you can create an action plan that will allow you to take care of some of the minor repairs yourself for better showing results. Number 10, for the repairs that you can't do yourself, this gives you the opportunity to get bids or repairs from contractors that you trust, putting you ahead of the information stream. Several times after a buyer's inspection, a lot of the times the buyer side comes back and asks for a certain amount of money off. They need $10,000 off, or they want $10,000 back, but there's no supportive information going behind that other than the inspection report. This gives you the opportunity to go out and get bids and negotiate on the bids that you've found, or to make the repairs using the contractors that you want to use. Let me give you a few examples on how a normal real estate transaction goes. After you've done your due diligence and you've hired an agent to represent you, you've come to an agreement on what you're going to list the property for. You know through your investigations with your realtor's help that the property is worth $100,000. I'm using fictitious numbers here to show you how a real estate transaction is going to go. You know that in order to sell your house and move on, your minimum price that you can receive is $85,000. That's the number that's in your head that you don't tell anybody, including your agent usually. So you put it on for $100,000. They start showing the property. Offers start coming in. You get an offer for $80,000. you know you can't accept that $80,000 because it's below your $85,000 that you need to cash out and move on. So you counter. I'm going to come down to 90. They counter at 85. Now you know you can accept an 85, but you're going to counter again at 87.5. And the buyer says, I'll accept that. So you're above your minimum price, but you have now negotiated down to 87.5. What did you just do in that real estate transaction? What you just did was negotiate away your financial position before you knew what your exposure to liability is. Let me repeat that. You just negotiated away your financial position in the real estate transaction before you knew what your exposure to liability is, because the contract has a clause in there contingent upon financing, title, insurance, and inspections. Now you don't know what that inspection is going to entail. Let's say that that inspector finds a list and they come back and now they want $10,000 off the price of the house because of the investigations that their inspector did. Well, if you've settled on 87.5 and they want 10,000 off, you're now down at 77.5, which is below where you can let go and move on to your next project. That alone is the reason why a lot of transactions go south. Another thing that happens a lot of the times is in a seller's market, we get a lot of buyers that come in and actually offer full price because they know it's a competitive market and they want to get it off the market. So they'll come in and offer you $100,000 right off the top. And then what they do, backdoor negotiations by using the inspection report to beat you up and ask for $20,000 off later on because they really didn't want to pay $100,000. They just wanted to get it off the market and bring it down. Now that's not good faith negotiations, but it does happen. By having a pre-list inspection, what you're going to do is you're going to reduce all of this because there's going to be no unpleasant surprises by the buyer's inspector. The buyer's inspector is going to mimic what the seller's inspection report should be or was due to the fact that they should be following roughly the same national and local standards. Let me remind you that 80% of the homes sold in the United States get a home inspection. So you're going to face this information one way or the other. The question is, are you going to be proactive about it or reactive about it? Let me give you an example of the reactive handling and how it can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the transaction. I'm going to use an example of a water quality issue. Let's take an arsenic issue. In my particular area, arsenic tends to run high. We have one company that will actually install arsenic systems for $1,000. We have another company that'll install arsenic systems for $5,000. Now, they're both good systems and they both do a great job. If you leave it up to the buyer to gather the information, be in control of the information, go out and find the vendors, then what's going to happen is they're going to want to negotiate on this price. Knowing that once they close, they'll probably hire the guy that does this price, but they're going to use this one to negotiate against you. If you try to use this one against them, they're going to say there's something wrong because it's too cheap. When in reality is, this one has 47 employees, this one has 2, a master plumber, a wife, and a salesperson. This one has 40 cars on the road, this one has 2 cars on the road. They're putting in essentially the same equipment, but this guy has less overhead. Okay? So you can see by just using one scenario where you can save $4,000 just by picking the contractor yourself, or having the bids available so that you can provide those bids to the buyer side before they go looking for their contractor or their solution. So in closing, let me remind you that 80% of the homes in the United States get a home inspection through the real estate transaction process. So more than likely, you're going to face the information. The question is whether you're going to face it reactively or proactively. Be proactive because it can save you thousands of dollars. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If we at Focus Property Inspections can be of any assistance in your endeavor, please feel free to contact us, and good luck.